When the Trees Moved, a short story by Dills It's Real.
Chapter 1. A Normal Day. I woke up with a start. The morning light barely spilled over the treetops, casting long shadows across my room. The air was still and quiet, except for the chirp of birds outside the window. Blinking sleep from my eyes, I sat up and rubbed the side of my face while still holding my teddy bear. Something felt off. I grabbed my blankie. It was my favorite, draped it over my shoulders like a cape. Hmm. A faint scent teased my nose. Bacon? Breakfast. My heart leapt. So I ran, toys clattering underfoot, flinging the bedroom door open and sprinted to the kitchen. Hmm. The kitchen was empty. There on the chipped table sat a sticky note. Out to get milk. Couple pieces of bacon in the fridge. Don't forget to feed the dog. Dad. I frowned. Dad never left me alone. My stomach growled. I pulled the fridge open. The 2 slices of bacon and a piece of toast sat on my favorite chip plate, the one with the old cartoon logo barely visible anymore. I scarfed it down and looked around. No barking, no sound of claws on the floorboards, no Gemma. Where was she? I walked back to my room, cape flapping behind me, still clutching my bear. I slid into my Captain Planet shirt and favorite pants, then pulled on my boots. Stepping out onto the porch, the air was cool and smelled of pine. I cupped my hands around my mouth. Gemma! No reply. I rounded the cabin and froze. Her favorite sunning spot was empty. My chest tightened. I called again, louder this time. Gemma! Then I saw it. Rust-colored streaks on the leaves leading into the woods. Blood. Not a lot, but enough. She must have chased a squirrel, or worse, one of the wild hogs. She never tries to eat them, but she has got into a tussle with a couple. They usually run off since she is a massive dog. What if one of them fought back? I clenched my walking stick, heart pounding. I did the one thing Dad told me to never do alone. I stepped into the woods. The trail was faint but steady. A broken branch here, a smear of red there. The forest was quiet, too quiet. I followed the path until something strange happened. The trees moved? Not visibly, but they weren't in the same place. I turned to retrace my steps only to find unfamiliar trees where I had just been. I was lost. A breeze stirred, carrying a whisper. Not words, just a feeling that something was watching. That's when I met a tree face. A gnarled oak tree stood in my path, its bark folding inward to form deep, blinking eyes and what looked like a mossy beard. Why do you seek what may not wish to be found? It asked, voice like groaning timber. 3 responses flickered in my mind. Because I love her. Because she's my responsibility. Because I don't know what else to do. But, but then it struck me. The answer never mattered. Treeface could wait an eternity. The forest itself was shaping to my thoughts. Chapter 3. The forest shifts. I pressed forward. A clearing opened up with a small stream babbling through. Sitting at the center was a frog nearly the size of a basketball. He wore round glasses and sat cross-legged on a mushroom, a calabash pipe hanging from his mouth and a book in his lap. He looks up at me, noticing that I noticed him in his own little world. Logic or emotion? He croaked, eyes twinkling. Only one will guide you forward. Both, I said to him. The frog nodded, flicked his tongue, and the world shimmered. The trees leaned slightly. The shadows were wrong, too long for the time of day. Gravity felt just a bit lighter. I found myself looking back at the intelligent frog, only to see nothing there. Looking back up, I found the familiar path. Chapter 4. The Guardians. Further in, I encountered the deer with glowing antlers. It didn't speak aloud. Instead, its eyes glowed softly, and I felt it inside my head. You're holding too tightly to your fear, it said, without sound. Let go, or fall further. Paths split in front of me, and I knew I was at the crossroads. A choice that you will never truly know is the correct path. And so I closed my eyes and spun around, and I started to walk. I opened my eyes to see that I had chosen a path, and there was no turning back. Not long after that realization, I stumbled into a stream where a bear wearing a fishing cap cast a line into the water with shocking dexterity. People think bears can't fish with poles, he said casually. Shows what they know. He looked at me while waiting on a bite. He started to chuckle a little and said, What you waiting on, boy? The path is over there, he said, pointing his thumb in the direction behind him over his shoulder. Oh, and that deer back there? Kinda freaky, right? Freaked me out too the first time. Though I didn't have a deer when I met them. Mine was a fish, oddly enough. But here, bears can fish with a pole, so it's cool. Now go on now. You're scaring the fish. I nodded to the bear and walked off, looking over my shoulder every now and then wondering if I'd just seen that. Not that crazy compared to how things have been going. Chapter 5. Familiar Unfamiliarity. The forest grew stranger. Trees now had faint faces. Rocks seemed to blink when you weren't looking directly at them. The sky above shifted between twilight and dusk. In a meadow of ash, a phoenix flickered into existence, reborn in front of my eyes. She spread her wings, still smoldering. What would you give to keep what you love? She asked. Before I could answer, I heard barking. Gemma! I ran, toward the sound, into a thicket. She stood there, tail wagging, but something was wrong. Her eyes were hollow. I stepped closer. She bared her teeth. Suddenly the creature unraveled, skin shifting, legs too long and grin too wide. A mimic. It fled, cackling. Flooded with anger and heart-shattering pain, I chased the creature, screaming to give her back. And that's when I stumbled and fell into the darkness that was closing in around me. Chapter 6. The Waking. Light, soft and warm, poured in from a window. I lay in a bed, hospital bed. But that doesn't make sense. This was my room. Posters on the walls, toys in the corner. Familiar. A hand gripped mine. I turned. Dad? His face, older, tired, tear-streaked, looked back. Hey, kiddo. A bark, scuffling of claws. Gemma, grayed and slower, tried to jump onto the bed, tail wagging wildly. My voice cracked. Gemma? Son, I'm so happy you woke up. You finally woke up. Tears rolling down his now much older face. I never gave up, believing you would make it back to us. Gemma, wagging her tail excitedly. Finally got on the bed and was cozying up to me, trying to lick my face.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this video, a like and maybe a subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.